See how this thing works? I know. Vikings! Suck! Welcome, Titan Nation. Welcome to an episode of the Minnesota Vikings versus Tennessee Titans pregame preview. Obviously, I'm not by myself. I got the man, Ken Moore, with me. We're going to break this down. How you doing, Ken?
Hey, I'm doing good, Alex. How's it going, man? I'm great.
There it is. Again, we're back with football again. It's great, man. It's always nice to look forward to now every Sunday before football. It was just like, man, it was rough. But now work goes by quick because it's like, oh, Sunday's here, ready for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. The days go by quicker. They're a lot more enjoyable, especially when your team is 2-0. So that makes it a lot more enjoyable as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we'll definitely go before we get into the Vikings versus Tennessee game. If you want to give a little recap on the Jacksonville game, I mean, it was closer than a lot of people expected. I expected it to be close because it's always a division game, but I didn't expect the points, I guess. I thought it was going to be 20-17, a three-point game, but it was a little bit higher. What came out of that game, for your opinion? What did you think?
Yeah, obviously the offense looked pretty good with Tannehill. The running game still struggling a little bit. Derek still under 4 yards per carry. The offensive, I think that's more on the offensive line than Derek. I think Derek still looks fine himself. The problem, obviously, as people have been talking about all week, has been the defense. We still have not been able to get pressure on the quarterback. Third down conversions have been terrible so far this season. I think so far we're giving up 56% on third down, which, you want to be around 33-35% on third down. So that's been a major problem so far this season. So just the uneasiness of the defense. I think we're missing Dean Pease a lot more than expected. Vrabel struggling to try to find a mix. But we're going up this week against a Minnesota team that's been struggling offensively. So hopefully we can get the defense together this week.
Definitely, absolutely, man. Yeah, I was trying to tweet to get Dean Pease back on Twitter. I was trying to get a group going. I was like, come on, guys. I mean, I think I put a pitch on like who misses him now because I knew when he left and he retired, I was like, oh. But hopefully, again, like you said, we can overcome this. All right. So let's talk about week 3. We got the 2-0 Tennessee Titans, undefeated Tennessee Titans versus the 0-2 Vikings. They still have Dalvin Cook. Oh, look, my Titan up thing came down as I talked about that. That's not good, man. That's not good. But again,
is that a bad open or what?
I don't know, man. That kind of creeped me out just now. I mean, it is windy outside, but we'll just use that and bad tape on my end. But again, they have Dalvin Cook. Went to Florida State, big Florida State guy. Love Dalvin Cook, but injury report. I mean, A.J. Brown is out. Malcolm Butler was limited. We actually didn't play yesterday. Chris Jackson also limited, dealing with the hamstring. You have Dennis Kelly, who didn't play Wednesday but went full participation today. Derek Roberson as well did not play. And then you have Jonnu, he didn't participate yesterday but went full participate today, but he's still nursing an ankle injury.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Jonathan Joseph, who was full participant yesterday, today injury, calf, and they put illness. A lot of they putting on the illness, and we'll get to you obviously about that and what illness actually means. And Vic Beasley looks like he can make his first debut as a Titan. He went full both times, played both practices, and Darrington Evans as well was, full. So what do you think? What name kind of pops out at first with coming back, and what name you're still struggling with, and hopefully we can get back eventually?
Well, I think the guy that can make the most impact is Darrington Evans because he can give us that speed out of the backfield. That's the reason we drafted him, to get him into that speed mode out of the backfield, one-on-one in space. So I think he's the guy that can make the most impact immediately. It's nice to see Vic Beasley as a full participant as well. Hopefully he can make an impact on the defensive line at the outside linebacker position with Clowney and with Harold Landry, so we can try to get some pressure on the quarterback. Malcolm Butler being limited, I'm not too concerned about that. I think he'll be fine and ready to go.
Okay.
Jonathan Joseph is a little concerning because he's played well the first couple of weeks with Adoree Jackson being out, and we got one more or two more games that we're going to miss Adoree. So Jonathan Joseph is the one that concerns me. That's on the injury report. Darrington Evans gives me hope that we can get him back and he can be a big part of this offense.
Definitely, especially since we could actually use that as like screen passes. Other than that, because as you said before, Derrick Henry, slow start. The offensive line is actually not winning the battle up front, like you said. We've been talking about how Derrick Henry hasn't been running as well, but again, you can't blame everything on Derrick Henry. It's the offensive line that line that needs to win that battle. And lately, they've been getting their butts kicked, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So
Right up front. So we look for a huge improvement this week in the offense going up against that Minnesota defense. I know you're probably going to go down that injury report. I mean,
yes, sir.
The defense is decimated by injuries the first couple of weeks of the season, and they got some more injuries going into this game. So it's an opportunity for that offensive line and for this offense to try to kind of ground out that rushing attack and try to ground out a victory.
Yeah, definitely. And for obviously Minnesota's injury report, you have Mike Hughes, who did not play. He was a cornerback. Mike Boone, he's a running back, was limited in practice. Troy Dye is linebacker. He did not participate. He was his foot. Chris Boyd is dealing with a hamstring. Riley Reef is a tackle. He's dealing with an ankle. He was limited in participation. I mean, there's a bunch, like you said, of defense-wise, that they're hurt. And, I mean, this is kind of the spot where we should take advantage of this, especially when we're kind of shaky ourselves. Now, is there anyone that you that is a concern for you? Obviously, playing the Minnesota Vikings, offense or defensive wise.
Well, on the injury report, their cornerbacks, Gansler and Hughes, both of those guys, if they don't play, that should definitely open up things for Corey Davis and some of the other receivers to take advantage of that. If both of those guys are not available, we were able to see Aaron Rodgers have a big game against them. Phillip Rivers had a pretty nice game against them last week as well. A couple of things that jump out to you when you look at the Minnesota Vikings is that they have really struggled in the second quarter of games this year. Gary Kubiak is their offensive coordinator. We remember him from when he was the head coach of the Houston Texans many years ago.
Yes, sir.
One thing about Kubiak is that he schemes very well for the beginning of the ball game. The Vikings had two great drives in their first possessions. Their first drive against Green Bay, they had like a 13-play drive for a touchdown. Their first drive against Indy, they had a nice 13, 14-play drive that ended in a field goal. But after that, their offense went three and out, three in turnover, safety. They were terrible the rest of the first half after that initial drive. So fans, don't panic if you see Minnesota go straight down the field on their opening drive and maybe come away with points. The key is we have to make the defensive adjustments to not let that continue for the rest of the half. Try to go into halftime with a nice lead and then get Derrick Henry going in the second half. That's going to be the formula for victory. That's the exact formula that Green Bay and Indy used in the first 2 weeks.
Definitely. And again, and not starting off, most of the times they usually like to rely on Dalvin Cook, but they can't when they have, when they have such they have to play catch up. It's almost like us. We like to rely on Derrick Henry,
Exactly.
but we can't play Derrick Henry if we have to play catch up. So that's one thing to kind of throw them off and stuff. So let's do this.
Check out this stat, Mr. Titan.
Let's see it.
Check this out. The first 2 weeks of the season, the Vikings have only had 40 rush attempts. Their opponents have had 72 rush attempts. Directly to what you're talking about, they've been so far behind in ball games, they haven't been able to use Dalvin Cook like they want to. So it's very important for us to get the lead, keep Dalvin Cook out of the ball game where he can't run the football, because if they're up, they're just going to feed Dalvin Cook like we would feed Derrick Henry. So that's an excellent point.
Definitely. And especially, look what happened in the Jacksonville game where they were gashing us. It was running the ball and throwing the ball. It didn't look good for the Tennessee Titans. So we say that, 3 keys to victory for the Tennessee Titans. What do you got, bud?
First is the turnover ratio. That's the most important part of winning the ball game so far this season. Knock on wood, Tennessee has not turned the football over. We have a +3 in turnover ratio. Minnesota, on the other hand, they're -3 in turnover ratio. Kirk Cousins has thrown, I believe, 4 interceptions so far this season. So turnover is number 1 key. Second, third down conversions, as we talked about earlier. We've done great offensively. We're converting 52% of our third downs, but defensively, we have not been able to get off the field. We're giving up 56% of third down conversions. Minnesota, their offense only converts 33% of the time. That's the number we need to keep them at to get their offense off the field. And finally, we dwelled on it, the rushing attack. I think this is going to be a big week for Derrick Henry. And hopefully our defense can contain the run. We're giving up 5 yards per carry so far this season. That's way off from where we were in 2019. So I think whichever running attack can control the line of scrimmage, control the time of possession, those 3 keys are going to be the keys to the game: the turnover ratio, third down conversions, and the rushing attack.
Definitely. Yeah, I had start early. Offense needs to win front of the line and make Kirk Cousins beat them, because that's what happened, where the game was so far behind that they couldn't run the ball with Dalvin Cook, and Kirk Cousins had to throw it. So that's
and guys, this is a different Minnesota team than you've seen offensively the last couple of years. They lost their 1A receiver in Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
He's gone. So yes, they still have Adam Thielen on one side, but then they got a number of different guys on the other side. They got Jefferson, the rookie. Bisi, B-I-S-I, is another receiver that they use. Tajay Sharp, who they got from us, hasn't been a factor at all. I don't think he has a reception so far this year.
Revenge game.
Very, very difficult for those guys to get on track, hopefully, against our defense.
Definitely. And hopefully he doesn't get started, because usually they like to get started when they play their former team, but hopefully not. So what are your predictions? Do you think it's going to be a landslide, or you think it's going to be a closer game than we expect?
This is the ultimate trap game. You're 2-0. You're going against a team on the road that's desperate for a win. You cannot have a letdown in this game, because Minnesota, they still have a lot of talent. This is a team that a lot of experts predicted to win the NFC North or be right there with Green Bay. So this is a desperate game for them. I'm very worried about this game. I think the Titans are the more talented team. I think that we're the more complete team, but I think it's going to be another tight struggle. I'm going to call Titans win it 24-20.
Nice. I have 20-17. I think the Titans will win again, but it's gonna be. I mean, everyone's still getting used to it. It's gonna be a tight squeeze, like you said. But again, that's our prediction, guys. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully, you guys liked the video. Remember, let everyone know, Ken, where they can find you. Let them know with all that good stuff, bud.
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow me at Kmore Sports on Twitter. On Instagram, it'll be at Kenmore Sports. And we finally got some high school football kicking off this weekend in Texas. I got a big game Saturday night, covering Oak Ridge. That's in the Houston area, up in the Woodlands. That game will be on legacysports.com, legacysports.com, if you want to check me out calling some high school football. So there you go. Let's tighten up, get another Titan win, and see if we can go to 3-0 on the season.
Yes, sir. Again, thank you so much. And guys, tighten up.